We're just going to give it a few minutes to clear the waiting room. Please make sure you're muted as you enter. All right. Good afternoon. This is a hearing before the Boston Cannabis Board, the BCB. Today is December 14th, 2022. Today's hearing is being conducted pursuant to certain temporary amendments to the open meeting law. That is what allows us to meet virtually. This hearing will be recorded and will be posted to the City of Boston's website. Before I review some procedural matters, I will introduce Chairwoman Kathleen Joyce.
Thank you, Jasmine. My name is Kathleen Joyce. I'm chair of the Boston Cannabis Board. And today I'm joined by Commissioner Lisa Holmes, Commissioner John Smith, and Commissioner Darlene Lombos.
And my name is Jasmine Nguyen, and I am the Cannabis Board Manager. We are also joined by Allison Quinn, who is the Project Manager for the BCB. While the public is encouraged to attend, there will be no additional public testimony accepted. I will read each item into the record. After I will then ask for comments from each board member. I will then ask if there's a motion, any questions to the motion, and then there will be a vote. For our transactional items, each board member has the ability to grant with conditions, defer, reject without prejudice, which means the applicant can return anytime with an application at the same location, or reject with prejudice, which means the applicant cannot reapply at the same location for 1 year. We will begin with our violation item. The licensee is Patriot Care, DBA Cannabis. The license premise is 21 Milk Street. The license type is the co-located marijuana retail and medical license. The date of the incident was October 10th, 2022. The alleged incident was customer robbery outside of premise in violation of Mass General Law, Chapter 94G, Section 4, and Board's Rule 3.01 and 3.06D. The other alleged incident was sale of pre-rolled cannabis products in violation of Board's Rule 1.01B and conditions on the licensee's recreational license. We will now move to comments from the board members. Chairwoman Joyce, do you have any comments?
Thank you, Jasmine. I have a few comments. From my perspective, they were staffed appropriately as far as security. The purchase was made on the medical side and the robbery happened outside of the licensed premise. So I don't see any issues. I don't think this was foreseeable on the part of the licensee. And those are my comments.
Commissioner Holmes?
I agree with the chairperson's comments. It was on the medical side, so they didn't violate our requirements of the pre-sales, and the robbery was kind of far away from their front door, so there's nothing they could have really done to prohibit it. So I agree.
Commissioner Lombos?
I agree. Same with my fellow commissioners. Nothing to add.
Commissioner Smith?
Thanks, Jasmine. I agree with my fellow commissioners. Thank you.
Chairwoman Joyce, is there a motion?
I see no violation on the part of the licensee.
No violation?
We'll make a motion to see that there's no violation, I think.
Is there a second?
Or vote for it.
All in favor? So no violation on both. All right, now we will move to our transactional items. The first item is an amendment to an already approved licensee. The applicant is Mass Greenwoods LLC. The license premise is 116 Harvard Ave, Alston. The license type is a retail recreational cannabis dispensary license, and the request is for a change of ownership interest. And the licensee is also seeking to change the DBA from Muse to Prolific. Chairwoman Joyce. You're on mute.
Thank you. I have no issues with the request that the licensee has brought before us today.
Commissioner Holmes?
Ditto.
Commissioner Lombos?
Agree.
Commissioner Smith?
Thank you, Jasmine. Agreed. Yeah, no issues.
Chairman Joyce, is there a motion?
Motion to approve the requested changes.
Is there a second? Commissioner Lombos, all in favor? Everyone, none opposed. The item is granted. The next application is for a new license. The applicant is Bay State Herbal Solutions LLC. The proposed license premise is 464 Hanover Street, Unit A, North End. The license type is a recreational cannabis dispensary license. And the proposed hours are 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week. Temporary closing times to be determined with local school drop-off pickup. And this is the equity applicant. Chairwoman Joyce, do you have any comments?
I have a few comments. I thought there were parts of the application that could have been further built out. Taking a look at two of the evaluation criteria that we're tasked to evaluate. I'm going to start with location. While they're not within a buffer zone, they are pretty close to some other licensed marijuana establishments. The buffer zone, I don't think necessarily, being within a buffer zone, I don't think is necessarily the only deciding factor. When it comes to proximity, I think you have to also take into consideration the density and the actual neighborhood that the application is looking to go into. They scored high for residential and commercial density in that area. Obviously, it's the North End. Again, as far as distance from schools, they are outside of the buffer zone. I want to put that on the record, but they are very close to school bus stops and just outside the buffer zone. So to me, they scored low in that category. Access to public transportation, I think it's a 15-minute walk to North Station. And I'm very familiar that there's no accessibility to on-site parking. It's a problem in the North End. I also, on the other days of the week, I am chair of the licensing board, and we work very closely with these restaurants, businesses, residents. There's outdoor dining that's coming in. I'm very familiar with what the groans and pains of the neighborhood are when it comes to parking. I think it's very real. I think I've lived through it for the last 2 years, and I don't think this would add to the pains that the neighborhood feels as far as parking in that area, especially with the school so close behind the bus stop. As far as community feedback and public support, there not only was there none or very little. It's not our job to broker an agreement between the businesses and the neighborhoods. They didn't even meet with the civic association, and they were invited. And I think the drop-off situation is just going to exacerbate the problems that already exist in this neighborhood. So those are just some of the points that I decided to focus on when I evaluated this application.
Commissioner Holmes?
Some of the same sentiments, although I do appreciate the additional information. Their application to me was not complete when they presented last week. And the fact that we had to ask for all this additional stuff, which should have been in the original application, kind of gave me the feeling that they kind of just rushed this through. And the fact that they have no community input, no meetings. I understand that the first one they had didn't go well, and they kind of got a deterrent feeling from that, and I can understand that. But there's really no support from from representatives, community counselors, or anyone. So I just don't think this is going to be a good, I don't know, it just doesn't seem that it's going to be a good fit here. So I don't know, but they to me, they didn't receive the support that they would need to open up a business in this area. And I don't honestly know how much more they can do to garner that.
Commissioner Lombos?
I don't have very much to add. I agree with my fellow commissioners. I do want to just say that because we're focusing on different parts of the application, I think the employment plan needed a lot more detail. I think doing a market survey doesn't help us in understanding what your goals are. I think that there just needed a little bit more meat. And I think just in terms of feedback for doing applications, we, our team, our staff team, getting any kind of support or finding ways to support our applicants in having a more robust proposal. I just want to remind them that our team is there. Because we do want businesses to succeed, especially our equity applicants. And then location wise, again, in terms of public support, that's a big chunk of the score sheet. But it can be overcome in different ways. But the application itself was also had some low scores for me. So I just wanted to put out too that in terms of applying, that we do have staff support. I think Jasmine and her team are excellent, and we do want to see people succeed. And so, there needed to be, from my perspective, a more robust employment plan, among other things that the other commissioners have said. Thank you.
Commissioner Smith?
Thanks, Jasmine. I agree basically with everything that was said. Sort of the lack of community and sort of civic engagement that seemed like, even though I think there are challenges in every neighborhood, there will be some resistance, sort of a more engaged process there. And also the presentation felt very truncated, and agreeing again with Commissioner Lombas about the employment plan. And I just wasn't totally, although we got some more stuff later, but the staffing goals and salary goals and really sort of fleshing all of that out. So agreeing with the rest of my commissioners and having the very same feeling that some things could have been better presented and thought out. Thank you.
Thank you. Chairwoman Joyce, is there a motion?
Thanks, Jasmine. What's this? I make a motion to reject this application. I guess it would be without prejudice if they could work through some of the issues that we've identified today, but I'm not quite sure if that would change how I voted on it, but I'm willing to give them an opportunity to come back if they're able to get some more support and work through some of these issues that we've identified.
Is there a second? Commissioner Holmes, second. All in favor? And none opposed. So it's reject without prejudice, which means the applicant can come back at any time. Obviously, we encourage the applicant to address some of the issues that the board members mentioned, but you would have to file a new application and etc. It was rejected without prejudice. The following licensees are applying for one-day amendments to their existing license. The first one is HVB Mass Inc., DBA Happy Valley in East Boston. They have applied for an extension of hours on December 24th, 2022. The applicant was requesting to open at 8 a.m. as opposed to their 10 a.m. opening, and the applicant will close at their 9 p.m. closing. Chairwoman Joyce.
That's fine. I would approve that.
All commissioners in favor? Great, so application is granted. The next one is Herba C3 Dorchester LLC, 43 Freeport Street, and they have applied for an extension of hours on December 24th, 2022 and December 31st. The applicant was requesting to open at 9 a.m. as opposed to their 10 a.m. and to close at 6 p.m. as opposed to their 9 p.m. So they're lessening their closing hour.
I have no issues with that. I would approve that.
All commissioners in favor? Application is granted. And then the last one is MCSE High Profile Bodega at 3997 Washington Street in Rosendale. They've applied to extend their hours on December 24th and the 31st. They're requesting to open at 9 a.m. as opposed to their 10 a.m.
My vote would be to approve.
All commissioners in favor? The application is granted. So those are all the matters before the board today. Our next transactional hearing will take place on January 18th, 2023 at 1 p.m. Hope everyone enjoys the rest of their day and see you next year.